30 seconds.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about it.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
So this morning, I get a Manect from a fellow who sends me this message with a quote, and I want to read it to you. This came from a man named Jason Doran on Manect. He says, "The tyrant dies and his rule is over. The martyr dies and his rule begins." This is by Søren Kierkegaard. So I read this quote, I'm thinking to myself, because yesterday, while we're at Universal Studios last night, we're at the Vol Conference. It ends. We have almost 8,000 people in the room. The emotions are high. Everyone's talking to each other. Nobody wants to leave. Nobody wants to leave this event. And they're asking, so what do you think is going to happen with Charlie after Turning Point USA? You think the team is going to continue? You think it's going to break apart and it's going to be different factions? You think young guys going to be inspired? And then I see young kids over there. And then 2 nights ago, I'm speaking to my son, and I can tell he's having a hard time when the day event happened. He's back at home. I'm talking to him. How you feeling about this? He says, "Dad, Charlie Kirk died." I said, "No, I understand." I said, "But how do you feel about this?" He can't even talk. Antico's not the type that can't talk. He can talk. What a weird last 48 hours this has been. We got so many stories to go through specifically. Obviously, we're going to spend most of the time today on Charlie Kirk. We got a few other stories that we'll get into. I think it's appropriate for us to discuss the stabbing because we haven't fully gotten into it. That could be a part of the cause of what happened, maybe one of the reasons why this took place, especially the way the media reacted to it. So we have to talk about that. The bombing of Qatar by Israel and a story by Washington Post saying Trump had a heated call with Netanyahu over what happened. The Van Jones calling the shooter being mentally ill. And then you have a bunch of other things that's going on here on stories that we have that we'll get into. Capitalism support among Americans drops to 54%. And Sam Altman sits down with Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson flat out asks him on how one of his former employees died. Was it suicide? And he says, "Are you accusing me of murder?" It's a very uncomfortable moment. And then Tucker also had a moment with Mark Cuban about Ukraine saying, "What do you think we should do with Ukraine?" "I think we should help them." "How much money have you sent to them?" None. "So why do you want us to help the country where your family's from?" "Well, you haven't sent any money. Why should we?" Valid question. We'll play that clip and maybe a few other clips. But before we get started, guys, as we're going through this, and if you at all at this point are feeling angry and you relate to guys like Vinny, when we call Vinny, or Tom calls Vinny the angry patriot, and that stuck since that day till today, and you're in that community as well, you may want to go to vtmerch.com and place an order on Angry Patriot. We're going to put the link below, Rob, on the Angry Patriot, the hats, the shirts. There's a bunch of gear there for people to understand what is really going on. These emotions are real. People are experiencing many different emotions today. We have people that are, in one moment you're feeling good, next moment you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? Next moment back to normal again. Everyone's in the middle of it. I call this top 4 worst assassinations we've had in the last 70 years. You got John F. Kennedy at the top, and you don't want to rank situations like this, but he was a president. And you have RFK, his brother, second, and then you have MLK, and then you have Charlie Kirk. To me, Charlie Kirk is the equivalent of MLK. So when D.L. Hughley says he's not even a politician, neither was MLK. But he was a figure that we will forever remember. And just like you'll see a lot of young folks for many years, I always had a poster or a painting of Martin Luther King in my offices. You're going to see for decades Charlie Kirk posters and paintings in offices because he impacted a lot of young people's lives. So let's get into the story here. President Trump just comes out earlier this morning, matter of fact, a few minutes ago, saying that the shooter, his father, encouraged him to go turn himself in. Here's President Trump.
Essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way, and the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister, and brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, and the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but you know, I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted. So you have breaking news, don't you? Huh?
Thank you.
Always have.
So while this is happening, yesterday we were told, Kash Patel tweeted us, and we have the subject, and they released the guy. At first we were told it was that old man saying, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. Rob, if you have that clip of the man saying that, and everyone's like, oh, my God, it's this guy. We got him. And apparently it's not him, right? So now they're saying they have him. You heard, obviously, the president saying he thinks. They told him 5 minutes ago. So we may not even know the whole story. But, Rob, go ahead and play this clip.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Was that you? We don't know if it's him or not.
Who would say shoot me?
Who would say that?
Who would say shoot me?
A troubled
Patsy?
guy who is there to be part of a counter-protest. It seems like a troubled guy. You know?
So you have that going on. You had J.D. Vance yesterday when they are moving his casket. J.D. Vance is there taking him on Air Force 2. Go ahead, Rob. So you can imagine when this is taking place. President Trump speaks with Charlie Kirk's wife. Rob, I think you have a clip on that as well, saying, you know, how totally devastated she is. Can you imagine what Erica's going through right now with 2 kids? At 31 years old, her husband is gone. Okay, those kids are going to, for the rest of their lives, hey, who's your father? Charlie Kirk, my dad's no longer here. Why? You're going to have to try to explain that to yourself on why that took place. I can only imagine the pain she is going through. Our prayers are with her and her family. But at the same time, while this is going on, you see the opposing side. Here's what some had to say on this event. Don Jr., when it happened, I love you, brother. You gave so many people the courage to speak up and will never be silenced. RFK Jr., once again, a bullet has silenced the most eloquent truth teller of an era. My dear friend Charlie Kirk, was our country's relentless and courageous crusader for free speech. We pray for Erica and the children. Charlie is already in paradise with the angels. We ask his prayers for our country. Netanyahu commented on it. Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking the truth and defending freedom. Milei, the world has lost an incredible human being. President Trump, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. Greg Abbott, Charlie's voice was a beacon for millions of young Americans searching for the truth, courage, and conviction. Megyn Kelly, we have lost one of the most important voices that we've had in our lifetime. And this continues going on. By the way, on the opposing side, people may be on the other side. Here's what Pritzker had to say. President's rhetoric often foments violence. The Democratic Senator Murphy, Trump has to answer for creating pessimismness for violence. Left has done that too. Joe Biden, there's no place in our country for this kind of violence. Barack Obama, we don't yet know what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, but this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. Kamala Harris, I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. And this goes on. And then you have some that if you watch these, Rob, I don't know if you have the Ilhan Omar clip with Mehdi Hassan. You may want to watch this, folks. I'm just telling you, it's going to upset you a little bit. Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
What I do know for sure is that
Charlie was someone who once said, guns save lives after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so. And
can I just say one thing about these two people? Here, this is why you gotta love America and also feel very uneasy about America. Here are two people who are not born in America, who fundamentally want to change America, who hate what America is actually even founded on. And because of who we are as a country, they have the ability to say, no. We want to reinvent America and what it is today. The disrespect that they can't even acknowledge that a man was assassinated. And immediately they go to, well, he said this, almost like he had it coming. Only in America, two people that we've brought in from another side of the world, from Somalia and I believe the UK, I want to say, to come in and criticize the foundation of America, only in America.
Yeah, and by the way, Vinny, your thoughts when you're hearing Ilhan Omar. How do you process this?
Man, you want to talk about what makes me be an angry patriot? Is because of stuff like that. The tone deaf, like you in a moment where somebody was literally shot, murdered, assassinated. And I love how we'll talk about it later about D.L. Hughley and all these people saying it's not an assassination. He wasn't a political figure. Really? He wasn't in the top 2 reasons why Donald Trump won, especially with the young vote, with what he was doing in colleges. Give me a break. And I love that you pointed it out. This country is freaking the greatest country in the history of the world, and we still have to let people like this say what they're going to say. No consequences. Just speak your mind. But the lack of empathy, the lack of caring that, bro, the guy was shot in the neck and bled out with his wife and his children in the area. Okay, and then this is the rhetoric. And let's be honest. You guys know what he stood for, Pat. We knew Charlie. Okay, what would he do? First and foremost, he fought for his faith, for Jesus Christ. Unapologetic. He didn't water it down because of freaking culture. He brought the Bible into politics, and he started waking up the youth. He went hard on being pro-life. He believed America is worth saving, and he empowered the next generation. And that's what he gets. He gets shot in the freaking neck, and then you have losers like this. Ilhan Omar, who hates America. They hate America. They hate anybody speaking up for America to try to save it. This is the other side that we always talk about. The people that hate this place, that want to destroy it. And I'm sorry. As much as I call these people evil and all this stuff, they're not going to win. They're not going to win because God's light is too bright, period.
I agree. Tom, your thoughts?
So, well, as I've said, and it bothers me, the price of free speech is free speech. It doesn't bother me having free speech. It bothers me at these moments because you have 3 types of liberals that are out there right now. Those that are saying what they think in broad daylight, and it's exactly what they think, like Omar, who does not, she has such a voting block there, she does not have to worry about re-election, she only has to worry about criticism. And so she's going to go out and go hard on this as she did. Then you have the liberals that are posturing a bit and being very careful because they know it's an extremely dangerous situation. And if they say something, they wave the flag and they let you know how they feel, but they're being super careful about it. And then the last group is ones that are hiding or not saying anything. But that's the liberals. But the price of free speech is free speech. And this is what the founding fathers didn't want the government to suppress one way or the other. But it can anger you, and there can be consequences, big consequences.
I want to ask you a question, Tom.
This is also a person that chose the incestuous path to citizenship.
While yesterday this was taking place, okay, TMZ comes out, and everybody around the world finds out when the phone alert, Charlie Kirk is dead. right? Your phone is blown up. No matter where you are, your phone is blown up with text messages saying Charlie Kirk is dead. This is Harvey, who runs TMZ. It's a place known, I've been inside that place. It's a place that's known for having cameras everywhere. That's what you're known for. You're talking live all the time, right? That's what TMZ is known for. You have cameras everywhere. That's your business model. That's how you blew up.
I was with you in every corner of every room. They capture
That's
every
right.
reaction.
You remember that?
Yep.
There's cameras everywhere.
Yep.
So perfect. If you're telling me there's cameras everywhere, and then this is how they react, employees of TMZ, when the announcement is made that Charlie Kirk has died, and then listen to his explanation afterwards. Go ahead, Rob.
Go.
That's the announcement. Exact second it was announced.
Go to. We're live streaming.
Oh, Rob, I don't
all
want you to
day.
show that. I actually want you to show the whole thing. Okay. There's another clip that I have that I posted in the notes, Rob. I don't know if you see that one or not.
Is this the one, Pat?
The one from Instagram. Play that one because I want people to see 10 seconds prior to that to see how it goes. Watch this.
Guess is we're going to see
they don't know yet.
an image of this guy.
There's just live streaming.
Possibly in the next
Watch
20
this.
minutes. The news
You'll hear
conference
it.
is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Janet, go.
The announcement is made.
Go.
They realize how
go
embarrassing
to,
it is. His partner's
have
going to the
somebody
back to
look
tell everybody
at
to be quiet.
The Fox.
Yeah, somebody go back.
Look, Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. He went to the back.
He went to
shut the hell up.
Yeah. So now watch.
What did Trump say?
Okay, forget about this, Rob. Now go to, so the second. So then what do? They go on ChatGPT. Can you tell me exactly at this time that there was another crisis that took place in California for us to say that we were reacting to? They make the argument that they're reacting to, not you, Rob. I'm saying that's what they did. So they make the argument later on. Do you have the video of them saying what they were reacting to?
Yeah, him
I
and the
think you have
producer
it.
guy.
Yeah, and so this is when they're looking at it. Watch this here, folks.
We're live streaming all day during this tragedy.
Right.
When something happened in our office, as we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing.
Yeah.
They were not reacting that way
They
about
were
Charlie
laughing.
Kirk's assassination.
Yeah.
They were not.
Okay.
They would not work here
All right.
if they did.
And that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing. And for that, we are sorry.
We apologize. We apologize.
We got
Get it.
caught.
You had to hear that.
And I get why if you're watching the stream, you may have felt that that's what the laughter was about. We assure you it was
When
not
the laughter
about
was cheering,
that,
dude.
But it was horrible timing.
Okay.
And
By the way, I get it
Believe
too.
them? Do you believe them?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So they're saying a car chase.
Okay.
This is the car chase. Let us just show you,
Yeah.
and you tell me if you believe them. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, let's find it.
Tell me if this is the kind of a car chase that you would celebrate and scream. Tell me if it's that euphoric. Go ahead, Rob.
We're showing you right there on the banner below. You can see it started in Temple City, and we saw that. Go ahead,
25
Philip.
miles an
Well, I
hour.
wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that is
I'm
the
waiting for the
breaking
excitement.
news that we are likely
Waiting for the
about
excitement.
to have with ABC News. He was shot in Utah at a college there. We've been talking about that throughout the afternoon here.
Pause,
You
Rob. Okay, so he's not lying. They are watching a car chase, and they are reacting to a car chase because the announcer on the car chase said that Charlie Kirk is dead.
Thank you.
So Harvey is essentially in his mind, well, we're not lying. Go back 20 seconds again, Rob, and watch what happens. Go back a little bit more. Go. Right there. Watch what the announcer says. Here's the car chase that they're talking about. Temple City. Go ahead.
that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that's
what they're reacting
breaking news
to.
that we are likely
That's not the car chase.
have with ABC News.
So
he was shot in
So they're
Utah.
watching the car chase.
So, yeah.
The announcer announces Charlie Kirk's dead, and it seems like in all likelihood that's when they cheer.
You tell me
There's
what
nothing excitable
while
going
that
on there.
second the car
This
chase.
isn't O.J. Simpson and the White Bronco.
Shane, Pat, that I'm sorry. That the first of all, disgusting of who they are. What TMZ like somebody, an ex-employee claims. These are claims all over that I saw on X that the newsroom was filled with hateful, angry, progressive energy, and he said it would, without question, laugh at Charlie Kirk getting shot. Shame on them. Shame on them for lying. Shame, have the balls to just tell the truth. You know what, guys? We're freaking leftists. We're progressive. You know what? Charlie is a voice that says stuff that we don't like. We are happy that he was shot in the freaking neck in front of his family.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the entire organization. Let me tell you.
No, I'm saying what this guy's saying. It's filled with hateful, angry progressives.
And I believe that.
Yes.
That I believe.
This is the guy, Pat.
No. I believe that exists.
Yes.
That those types of people are in there. This is the question I want to ask all of you guys. Do you believe Harvey's happy that Charlie Kirk is dead? I don't believe so.
I don't think that's his
Do
personality.
you believe the guy to the right believe he's happy Charlie Kirk is dead?
I don't think
believe
those
that.
two guys.
I think the guy on the right is actually fairly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably both on the left, but I don't think they're happy Charlie Kirk is dead. The question I want to ask you is the following. Here's the question I want to ask you, okay? You said the price of freedom of speech is freedom of speech.
That's right.
Okay, fair. We're not happy by the way those employees reacted. They're celebrating. These guys are not telling the truth. Harvey, respectfully, you're not telling the truth. You're telling the truth that they reacted to a car chase. Yes, but they reacted to what the announcer on the car chase said, not the actual car chase. There was nothing exciting happening at the same exact second, the same exact minute to have that kind of a euphoric reaction. Okay? That's absolutely embarrassing. If you have all the cameras all over the place, that's your business model. Show the camera footage. You have it. What were they reacting to? You have the camera footage in the back. Everywhere in that facility has cameras. Number two, what should happen to those people in the back that were celebrating? You're operating the company. You find out somebody is celebrating that. What should happen to those people?
Well, first of all, that behavior is despicable. Freedom of speech is a man coming to a podium expressing his views, and you don't like it. Omar going with a reporter expressing her views, and we don't like it. And there's consequences. You could get unelected. There's a lot of things that could happen. That is despicable behavior. And that kind of thing, you're employed by somebody, and there are standards of behavior. There is freedom of speech, at Valuetainment, just like there is at every company. Pat, I hate you. I don't like working for you, and I think you're a horrible,
You don't need to say public.
horrible leader. And guess what? You know what that means?
What?
You're fired.
Yeah.
We can say, okay, well, I'm sorry that you have that opinion. That's pretty despicable behavior, and that's a despicable opinion. So guess what? You're fired. You don't have to work here.
What should happen here?
I think he should do it because I think there's an irony here. My take on this, there's an irony. Harvey has made his career on busting celebrities that lie when they're arrested, and then this video, that video, this person, that person, and then they bust them. They go, no.
What a great point.
Here's what really happened.
That's right.
And now Harvey's in the middle of it, right there, busted, and sitting there in front of the spotlight the same way he puts celebrities and other people in front of the spotlight and would say, that's not what happened.
The part I
TMZ
don't
got you. We paid an
Yeah.
informant. We got this. And so he is not taking a leadership position in his company
That's the problem.
against
That's the
despicable
problem.
behavior.
But here's the question. The problem to me here is the way he handled it. That's the only problem I have, because this is how MSNBC handled it. We're not ones that wakes up in the morning saying MSNBC makes all the right decisions in the world with the values and principles they stand for.
Low
But watch what
probability we
happened
say
here.
that.
Go ahead, Rob.
But following up with what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
What happened at MSNBC afterwards? What did they do to that guy? He got fired. So you can love or hate MSNBC. What did MSNBC say? Hate is not allowed in our company. MSNBC fires Matthew Dowd after Charlie Kirk shooting comments, reports say. TMZ, Harvey, you have to make this good. I'm one that actually watched some of the stuff that you've done over the years, and it's actually good.
I agree.
For you to defend and lie about what they reacted to, you lost so much credibility with me. So much credibility with me for you to behave that way. This is not the right type of way to behave. You know your guy in the back was celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Is that what the company represents? If you fully claim your lady in the back that was screaming or the employees that were screaming.
Sounded like a few of them.
Show the videos. I want to see them. I want to see the videos of what happened in the back. But you're seeing some of this stuff. And here's a challenge. This obviously raises your temperature. This obviously upsets you. This obviously gets you to say, you got to be kidding me. Don Lemon, Rob, is out there and he's doing his, what is this? Man on the street stuff. And he goes up to a guy. There's two of them, Rob. The one I want you to pull up is the one that's the gentleman talking about, not this one, but the other one. The one where the fellow is saying, well, I'm kind of glad it happened. This is what happens when you go out there and do this. And
was it the gay guy, Pat? Was he
it's the gay guy. It's do you know which one I'm talking about, Rob?
I'm looking for it right now.
See if you can find it.
Right here?
No. You just had it. Go back. No, go back. Go back. It's the one on the that one right there.
203. Shorts.
Go for it.
Yeah, I do. And what do you think of what happened to him? You know, sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold. I hate to celebrate someone's death, but when you talk about guns' rights and you talk about how much the Second Amendment matters to you and it impacts you, like, what do you expect, you know?
Wow.
Sympathies to his family, but this is why we need gun control.
One of my friends said on social media he died in a world that he wanted.
Yeah, he said it himself, right?
Okay, so pause this up and then go to the other Don Lemon clip. And then Don, you wonder why people react like this sometimes when they see you.
The guy's
Watch
wearing a cross.
How you doing, sir? Can we talk to you? Where are you from? You live in New York?
Who are you?
Don Lemon.
You're a fucking moron, dude.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, that's very nice of you
Yeah,
to
nice to
say.
see you.
Except you've never heard anything I've had to say, and I've heard a whole bunch of what you
I'm glad you watched me.
No, I don't.
Why?
But you just get clipped everywhere.
I know, but why don't you? You said you don't watch me, but yet you know who I am, and I get clipped.
Before I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit, every once in a while I'd see
What do you watch?
talking. I watch all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but why do you say CNN and MSNBC are full of shit?
Because they lie.
But about what? Be
Everything.
specific. What's everything?
Are they in Canada? Are they in Canada right there? Where is he? Because that guy has an English accent, but from the looks of it, I don't even know if he's in the United States. Is he in New York?
New York City, buddy.
Well, wherever it is, that's such a freaking great moment. And first of all, Don Lemon, you want to talk about a fall from grace? This guy was one of the top CNN anchors, and your ass is in the street putting a mic in people's faces, and he's getting handled. And it makes me so freaking happy. And Pat, it's not, I know we're going to get into it. It's not just that. The majority of the people that I've seen out there on the left, from TMZ to him, to that guy, to even Don Lemon. Do you think Don Lemon is pissed off or upset or sad that Charlie was shot? Absolutely not. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. My cousin's wife was posting something about the Second Amendment, and she put yes, like all yes, that he was shot and killed. These are people that are in my family, okay? And it's
Are you kidding me?
I swear to you, and Pat, because I'm trying. Yes, I'm the Angry
On
Patriot.
Instagram?
On Instagram, my brother and them sent me the story. I'm going to show it to you.
Dagulet.
You have no idea. This is my first cousin's wife. All right? These people, I'm telling you right now, they are captured by the devil, Pat. And I'm not being facetious, okay? And I've said this multiple times about Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. It's not flesh and blood. It's principalities. It's evil. And these people have been captured.
right.
They don't even know. Pat, when they walk around, they say stuff like this, and you have kids of all walks of life cheering, chanting, shot in the neck, and happy that a human being was shot for speaking, just speaking. You know what I mean? Guess what? If you don't like what he say, go in there and battle him. Go in there and debate him. The left, they have nothing. They have to silence us with death. They have to shoot us because they can't argue with us. And the devil, I'm telling you guys, it's evil. And these people they don't even know that they're captured, Tommy. They don't know that they're, I don't want to say possessed. How can you walk around and do that? And I'm going to show you once Tom says this thing, what these people are about.
Yeah, the greatest trick the devil pulled off is convincing people he doesn't exist. You know, the evil creeps in on little cat feet. You know, the fog creeps in on little cat feet. I think it was Walt Whitman talking about San Francisco. But guess what? Evil also creeps in that way. It's a little here, it's a little there, and all of a sudden, your worldview, and that's my concern, the worldview they have is on a foundation of deep evil flaw. It's deep flaws that they don't see as evil. And they're talking about the other side. And by the way, this goes back to activism in America. Activism in America in the 1960s, you had this horrible war, the Vietnam War, that was people are being drafted for a terrible war, and people lost trust in the government. But guess what also happened there? Activism. That provided the fertile crescent of activism in the United States. And Saul Alinsky and others were out there saying, hey, accuse the other side of what you're doing. And when, Vinny, when you do that, you appear to have the moral high ground. And then when you have the media, all but one leg of the media you have that are willing to propagate that, then you have this whole generation that says, I guess this is right. I guess I am a victim. I guess this is the problem. I guess it's here. And then the hate builds up in them because they're being taught to hate, they're being taught divisiveness, and they're being led through it. It got worse under Barack Obama's administration, but I don't blame him for starting it, but he poured more gas on it, and Pelosi poured more gas on it. And they say, well, and then today they want to say, oh, well, listen to the divisive comments of Donald Trump. I don't agree with everything he said, and I think presidential leaders have an opportunity to turn down the heat. But to your point, people that have a flawed worldview platform end up downstream in the lake of hate and bitterness, and that's what you're seeing.
Adam, what are you thinking?
So I just want to kind of give a couple thoughts. Here's an article I want to talk about. The Democrats are the extremists today. So I'm in Miami, and I'm having a conversation with these three girls that are in town from D.C., and I say, oh, D.C., it turns out they work for John Fetterman. And we ended up having a conversation. I go, Fetterman, you know, he's actually like a more conservative Democrat. It's interesting to see his positions. She goes, well, yeah, I'm actually from West Virginia. I go, Joe Manchin, that's my guy. We started having this conversation. I said, you know, I used to be more of a Democrat, and then I saw how insane the Democratic Party became, and I could no longer support that, and I'm one of the staunch advocates of the MAGA movement at this point, America First, because it's just common sense. She goes, how could you say something like that? MAGA are the extremists. I go, really? If I showed you data that would disprove your argument, would you believe me? She goes, depends where the data is from. I go, well, you know, Pew, Quinnipiac, these are pretty reputable sources here. I said, Republicans and Democrats 20 years ago used to be right here, right here. I go, where do you think Republicans have moved? Where do you think of Democrats? She goes, Republicans, MAGA, they're over here now. Democrats, maybe they're going to left. I go, it's exactly the opposite. Republicans, I don't know if you could show this. There's a chart there. There's a graph. Republicans have moved a little bit further to the right in that article, Rob. Republicans have moved over a little further to the right. By the way, this is from 2017. It has gone even further. Democrats have gone so far to the left, their party is completely unrecognizable. So you have an average person. This is the backbone of what Charlie was talking about. When he would go to colleges, and we had a conversation with him at Turning Point, I said young men in high school and in college are becoming way more conservative because they see what's going on here. So to the extremists' point of view out there, there's only one party that has become completely extreme, and that's the party that has no idea the difference between a man and a woman, is the party that has open borders. It is the party of chaos at this point.
Adam, great point, and if you don't mind, I have to. It's when you take out God, okay? And let's be real. Charlie was his biggest thing was God and Jesus Christ, okay? And there's no in the middle, guys. There's no more, I'm kind of on the fence, Jesus. No, either you're here and you believe in God and you believe Jesus Christ, or you're over here. There's no in between, okay? And that's the freaking war that we're in right now. This is the battle that we're talking about. And you named it, Adam. And yesterday, how many people did me and you talk to? Well, I'm talking to people, and some of them were kind of leaning, middle, little left. And I'm like, tell me what that side stands for. Okay, just please please give me something that if you were running on, what would it be? Because from what I see it, the majority is they're pro-abortion. They're celebrating assassination. Okay, if you're a kid, they will happily give hormones and all that crap to mess up with their freaking bodies to make money. They're pro-open border. They're weaponized the Department of Justice. They don't give a give me something. Please give me something that these people are about. And once you take out God, they've been fighting for this whole time to take out God. And then when somebody gets murdered, they're celebrating it. So which party is that? Which side? If the devil came right now and had to pick a Republican or Democrat, which one would it be?
They don't have an anchor. They don't have a foundation. They don't have a worldview that is based in an undeniable and unmoving truth. They don't have that. They are looking for victims. Victims become voting blocks. Voting blocks become elections. Elections become power.
Yep.
That is the bottom line of it. And everything you see on this is the sausage making that leads to it.
Well, let me show you this because this is what they're saying the shooter is. The shooter, they're saying, is a guy named Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, just a few minutes ago. That's the face. That's the killer. That's the shooter. Apparently, the pastor and the father were able to persuade him to go in. If you see the clip, Rob, there's a couple things. While he's on the rooftop, after he shoots, he is...
Allegedly, right? This is the guy.
Well, allegedly is what they're saying, but this is the White House giving us the info. So while he's up there, if you see him all the way up top, go ahead and play that clip, Rob.
Is him laying down?
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from over, where's my finger? Well, from over there.
Instead of recording, how about calling the cops?
No, he's right there. Just saying.
And by the way, while that's happening, there's another clip of him while he's trying to jump off the roof.
And he hurts himself?
He hurts himself, and he starts limping. So he literally starts limping, and he's seen in many different clips by what do you call the ring cameras.
Yep. And the parking lot security.
Yes, of him limping, having a hard time walking. And obviously at this point, for me, yeah, that's him right there. That's apparently the shooter. But do you have the other clip, Rob, of him that jumps off? Watch, that's TMZ. It's so funny.
Weird. Yeah.
Do you have the one of him jumping off the fence and he hurts himself with the leg when he tries to jump off the top of the rooftop? I don't know if you have that clip or not.
Yeah, the parking garages. Yeah, Pat.
Yeah, if you can find that. And this is leading to one video that I found, which is kind of weird. So at this point, if you've seen the clips, that's the one right there, Rob. Yeah, so that's him. Oh, but that's after he jumps the fence.
The one before it is there. It is, Pat. I mean, Rob, you can zoom into that. He's on the top right of that building. If you guys are watching, right there, he's gonna run to right there. There he is. What an idiot! No escape plan. So you're gonna jump 2 stories. Look, he dropped some stuff here. Boom, his jacket.
Where's the gun?
And then he probably left it. Watch, it was wrapped in a towel, allegedly. And then look at this
The gun was found in the woods with a footprint.
Boom. Good. I hope he broke his ankle. Good.
And he's limping now.
Good. Good for you.
So, okay, so that's that. Now,
this guy was the son of a minister, is what we're telling?
No. His father and a minister apparently influenced him. Rob,
Gotcha.
Can you pull up
so
the story?
So the father is not a minister.
Read in to see what persuaded him. Trump did not something. I think we have a high degree. Certainly go a little bit lower, Rob, if you could. Go a little bit lower, because we saw this clip. Officials involved in investigation into shooting co-founder. Can you go to see if Kash Patel has tweeted anything out yet? Has Kash tweeted anything out yet? There's another clip of the gentleman that was standing behind Charlie Kirk. Okay? There's a gentleman standing behind Charlie Kirk. Rob, if you can do the one I gave you with the one that's the one right there. Yes, watch this. So watch the man in the back with the hand signals. Actually, no, not this clip, Rob. It's the one that says what it means. This is the one I'm going to send you because those are military signals.
Yeah, shooting range training signals, right?
Yeah, I just sent you this one, Rob. If you can play this one here, just watch this. Okay, and again, we're not going to be playing the clip of how he got shot, the blood. If you've seen it, you've seen it. And if you're like, Adam, going and showing it to everybody around you, here's this clip. Watch this one here and watch the man in the back with the phone. Watch him very
The
closely.
military are a little bit aware of hand signals being thrown
Watch this.
up. And these
One.
two men need to really be looked into.
Sniper.
With some of the sniper-looking signals, especially coming from the guy in the white and the guy in the black.
Okay. Touching the side of the face in military context, often rubbing the cheek is a hand signal to indicate. Go back, Rob. Let me read that whole thing. Indicate. Go back, Rob. Indicate the presence of male individual. Some users suggesting touching the chest and again, female. Okay, keep going. Yeah. It's explaining. A single hand level from the body, put the palm down or moving in horizontal repeat means commence firing. Wow. When executed rapidly, it means to increase the rate of fire. When executed slowly, it means to decrease the rate of fire. Okay, keep it going. Huh. Interesting. What's the next thing? The left arm crossing the torso, military hand signal to indicate imminent danger. Or the torso different depending on the context of military. The most common interpretation of imminent danger, signal rest. Crossing the hand or arms repeatedly across the chest. Keep going, Rob. Now, this could be a couple different things. First place that your mind goes to is he's telling the shooter to take the shot.
Go for it.
That's one.
Boom.
Let's just say.
Yeah, let's just say.
But the other thing could be. The other thing could be this, guys. Let me tell you, the guy in the black is also. Because they're speaking to each other the entire time. See, these are all signals.
What are those signals?
So this is what. By the way, it happens literally a second after this. So
1 second.
don't. So to me, what are the chance? Because it's not hard to investigate who those two people are: the guy in the white and the guy in the black. No. We have to find out and have the conversations with them. But to me, the question I got is maybe they found out someone's up top. It could either be that, hey, there's danger and they don't want to overreact and they're talking to one another. Can somebody go see what's going on over there? But that doesn't make sense because nobody moved in that direction. And in an instance like that, if you see any kind of threat, the job of your protection, you don't tell them what to do. Their job is to jump and take you out because they're not going to, even if there's a slight chance of risk, they have to take you offside to protect you. That's what they're going to be doing. You're not going to be waiting on me. You're going to be like, we got to roll. It's not going to be like, no, not right now. Let me finish my speech. No, man, you hired me for this job. Fine. Boom, pulling you, we're running, right?
Immediately.
Smother and cover and then run.
If you notice a threat, you jump on
Yeah,
Charlie.
so I don't think that's what it is. So I'm just trying to speculate. I think, to me, it gives me more of a vibe of 80-20, dirtiness than it does for something that we're doing to protect.
You're saying that based on your probability, you're giving it an inside job
Let me tell you, if I'm running the FBI, I want to talk to that guy myself.
Hell yeah.
I don't want my guys to talk to him. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to those guys. And it could be as simple of an answer that they'll explain. And remember, our whole system is what? Innocent until proven guilty. But what are those hand signals? I don't know.
And can I say one thing too,
Yeah.
Pat? We have to understand, like, whoever this suspect is, whoever Tyler is, whatever his background is, and me and Mike were talking about this earlier. You have to understand whatever this plan was, whatever this operation was, they had to know. Number one, Charlie was going to be there. They had to know the schedule, number one. Number two, you have to know where he was going to be. And that advantage point, shooting from high to low, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. That's the easiest way. So this kid, who I highly doubt, had all this information and all this tactical knowledge to find out, Adam, the timing, where, what time. Blah, blah. This is a big campus. How'd you know they were going to be right there? Okay? And then this goes on the security. You're having this guy sit in the middle of a wide open area, and this is where I think, like, you underestimated the enemy. You underestimated that Charlie, and mind you, and because of all these older videos, you know how many situations where I've seen where Charlie's just sitting there and just all open rooftops. And I understand he's not the president of the United States, but when you speak the truth, you become the enemy to these people. And then this is what happens. So I agree with you, Pat. There's a bunch of layers to get to this. If they leaked information, if they knew, same thing with Butler. Same thing with Butler. You have the ex-president who's trying to be the president again out there in the open, and then all Secret Service. The only thing that happened was Kim Cheadle got fired. That's it. Everybody else got a slap on the wrist. Even if he was, God forbid, murdered and assassinated, that's all they would have said. Hey, we didn't do our job right.
Here's the question, though, Tom. You said something very interesting before we went live, and I think it's important for you to share with them. So watch the system. We have the shooter. You take him in. Here's who he is. Because who do you think needs the temperature to be lowered more than – who do you think wants the temperature to be lowered more than anybody
president.
else? Okay. So you take him in. Then what do you walk him through? The system of what happens. If this doesn't happen – and we actually are able to interview the shooter and know more about him, then that means there wasn't any dirty work, right? Tom, you were saying something earlier.
Yeah, Cooks was shot on the roof. We don't even know if he was the real shooter in Pennsylvania.
And they cleaned up the
And the
mess.
next day they had their garden hoses out on the roof, because they're going to plant some stuff up there.
Yeah.
And then you remember Oswald's not press conference, but when they were talking about, hey, he's arrested, he's here, this is what's going on. You had a federal agent from the back of the room calling forward, interrupting, and clarifying the organization that Oswald was allegedly a part of. So we can go back and see so much about Oswald, Patsy, trained by the CIA, working with the CIA. You see it all now in the stuff that's come out. We don't have to say allegedly anymore because we have so much of the stuff there, and we're not Oliver Stone making a conspiracy movie. There are so many things that suddenly are there. So I want to see what happens to this guy, and if he was. So now I'm going to go pure speculation. If those guys are feds, and he was identified, trained, and used by the feds, then who called the hit on a future president of the United States that had the ability through his organization and his voice to move elections? Who doesn't want those elections moved? The core establishment? But I want to see, back to Pat's question, I want to see what happens. What do we get to see? Tim McVeigh, we got to learn a lot about him. A lot about you, correct. We learned a lot about him. And there was a lot of things that got uncovered. Now we're living in a whole different world now of available information and the ability to research. But I, like Pat, I want to see what happens with this guy. Does he hang himself in prison? That would never happen to a suspect of a wide-ranging crime. Oh, wait. So what happens to him? Where do we go and what do we see? Or is this something odd happens and it's quickly cleaned up like Crooks?
Yeah, I mean, when I was on Jesse a couple nights ago, I said, look, respectfully, we don't even know anything about the President Trump shooter. What do we know about it? So we have to kind of start getting answers. We're not getting answers. I want answers about COVID. If China released that virus intentionally and unintentionally, do we know that yet? We don't. That opens it up for the next pandemic or the next Black Swan event. 2, who shot the president in the ear? What happened there? What do we know about this guy? What was the motive? We know nothing there. 3, this right here went with Charlie Kirk, the MLK of the conservative youth movement today. He is the equivalent of MLK. You can say whatever. Some could even say he's bigger than MLK because of social media. Because of what's going on with social media and how messages go viral, he is probably more famous today with his impact worldwide than MLK was in America, because MLK wasn't having his clips going viral worldwide. That did not exist back then. Today it does. So as much as some people may not like it, Charlie's more famous than MLK was at his peak when he passed away. This is not a competitive message. They're at the same level, the impact. So we have to find out what happens to this guy. We have to find out what the motive behind it was. Because why? Okay, worst case, I pray for this not to happen, but it's my biggest concern. If right now, you know how before pandemic, I was telling the story how I'm going to LA for our board meeting. And all of a sudden, one by one, on March 12th of 2020, Is that COVID? 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When March 12 of 2020, I land at Beverly Hills Hilton. I'm with my family. I'm going to take them to Universal. One by one, board members start canceling the meeting. Why? Because of COVID. Up until that point, I didn't know how serious it was. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing shut down. Then it became non-essential, essential, no NBA, no NHL, all the parks, all the this, all the that. The world changed, right? What happens if all of a sudden, in the next 7 days, 2 weeks, the equivalent of an AOC on the opposing side is taken out? What do you think happens? Martial law? Hey, Vinny, where are you? Well, guys, I can't do anything. We're doing podcasts from the house. How's your internet at your house? I can't get out. They're not letting me get out. It's curfew. For what? Imagine if riots get so nasty in the streets in all metropolitan cities. What does America look like? Who would want that? Who? What happened with protesting and riots under Trump first time around? How bad were they? Do you remember the BLM riots?
Oh, man.
You don't think they want that again? You don't think they're smart enough and divisive enough to find different methods? I don't know. But the way I'm going to next and what I'd want to talk about next before we transition to a couple of the other stories, because there's so much to be learned about things that's going on here with Charlie, is this. Who is behind it? Okay? Speculation. Everything is allegedly. Who is behind it? If this is just a kid, there was a video there's a video that's going viral saying this is the guy that Charlie Kirk was debating who is the possible killer. Rob, do you know which one I'm talking about? There's a clip of a guy that Charlie, right there, that's the guy. Right there, Rob. Right there. Can you zoom into that one? So it doesn't look like him.
No.
But some are saying this could be the guy. Go ahead.
Hey, this guy just lies. Hey, no. He's a liar.
So, okay.
He can't debate. He just lies.
Okay, so let's just
What, you
calm
don't
down
like
a little
freedom
bit.
of speech?
So watch the pause.
Well, I mean, you could say whatever you want if you want to make a fool of yourself, but we do have like 10-year-olds here and 11-year-olds, so can we have some decency?
Whatever.
Okay, you don't care. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself,
Who said I was
not
a
about the
leftist?
other people.
Who said I was a leftist?
Pause on his
Well,
face.
Look at that
Pause on his
evil,
face, Rob.
Hey, this guy.
Yeah. So that guy, and then you see the picture to the right with the glasses on. Okay, that's the guy that's walking around. And then we have Tyler Robinson. If you go to Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, good point.
Okay. Is it the same guy? The
doesn't.
Tyler Robinson picture? Okay. We don't know if it's the same guy. Some are saying yes, some are saying no. But to me, it's the following. If it's just a guy who got up, was able to shoot from 200 yards away, and then he gets him, he's dead, gets off the rooftop, walks out, and disappears like Kaiser Sose? Is it just a guy that was upset? Is it just a leftist that hates Charlie? Was it a motive? Was it funded by somebody? Was it just increasing the temperature? What is your speculation of what you think happened?
Allegedly, he wrote the words on the bullet casing trans and
which to me,
fascism.
Yeah, I think
and we were discussing.
Let's
this
be
in the
careful
car,
here.
right?
I think, can we look this up? Because I know what you're talking about, and I'm not contradicting you. This morning, there was a report that there was no rifle in the woods, and there were no bullet casing, that was a erroneous report. Rob, if you can help us. So I want to make sure that we don't, repeat something that this morning, you know what I mean, Pat, got already set aside.
Because I think I love the question because it's like who's going to benefit? Who's gaining from this? Okay, who's gaining? Because Charlie's voice was so impactful, and guess what? To me, this is my opinion. They assassinated this kid or whoever was behind it, the 2032 president of the United States. That's where my mind, where I was at, Pat. But if you think about it, MK Ultra, when you talk about these operations from the CIA and all this stuff as if they didn't exist, in the 50s and 70s, they focus on mind control experiments. I'm not making this up. This isn't some crazy, kooky idea that I'm coming up with. They used LSD. They grabbed younger people like this, and they brainwashed them into becoming assassins, shooting, and then all of a sudden they snap out of it. They don't know what they are. They don't know what the hell is going on. They're completely lost. You know what I mean? Just like when, Tom, who's the guy?
It's the whole Jason Bourne depiction.
Exactly, but the thing
that's
is,
a depiction. That's a movie. That's Hollywood, but it comes from apparently the playbook of creating an intelligence asset.
Exactly. So, and here's the thing: the George Soroses, all these people. And again, this is clearly speculation. Who would benefit from this type of action? Who would benefit from not only killing one of the leading voices that's like pushing the youth, that's making, me and Adam just showed me a video in the car. I don't know if you can send it to Rob. It's a conversation that he had with a trans girl that became
Megyn
a guy,
Kelly.
and he was such an awesome conversation where he's like, what's going on with me? What's happening? He's like, I want you to, I pray that you find the truth and somebody talks to you and find out what's going on in your head and not just pumping drugs into your body and changing you. And I hope it doesn't come to that, but we had this conversation yesterday. Isn't it weird, though, that the other side never gets no assassinations? They walk out in public. You see AOC, Pat, and all these people, they walk out. There's no security. They're just out there. They're just out there because, in my opinion, that's their side. Their side isn't going to do anything to them. It's always us. It's always the voices that are preaching about love, about peace, about bringing us together. All of them from the history get shot or murdered.
Oh, and George Floyd is suddenly, not to interrupt you, but to add to what you're saying with emphasis, and George Floyd is depicted as an assassination. A man with a rap sheet, a man that was in the middle of committing another crime and had enough drugs in his system to throw a Hollywood birthday party. You've got, that's
right.
That's in the record. He was out of his mind, and the level of drugs that were there, and yet he's a symbol, and he's assassinated. Yeah. Really?
I want to touch on one thing because you guys have mentioned this. I firmly believe they just assassinated a future president of the United States, and 100%. I'm not downplaying that.
Oh,
we talk about having a bench, who's on the left, who's on the right. Charlie was at the top of the list, man. And I know you're angry. I know people are pissed. You know what I am? I'm sad, man. I'm sad for the movement. I'm sad for Charlie's family. I'm sad for his wife. I'm sad for his kid. I'm sad for America. You know, that day was super emotional. Vinny's the one, right as Tony Robbins took the stage, runs out. I'm sitting right there behind Vinny. I'm sitting with Dylan, Patrick's son. Jennifer's a couple seats over. Moral's in front of me. Tom's right there. Vinny says, Charlie just got shot, and runs off. I said, what? I'm with Dylan. We're front row, Tony. I'm focused on Tony. And Tony gives us a speech, and he says, you know the number one quality of a leader? The number one quality of a leader is that they have influence. Don't downplay the fact that people are influencers. Charlie had influence. He was an influencer. You influence people's thoughts. You influence people's emotions. You influence people's actions, good and bad. I'm there with Dylan. We're having a great time. And the whole time, I'm holding back my emotions, knowing that Charlie Kirk just got shot. And then text after text after text. This is what's going on. And then here's what happened. Pat took the stage. Super emotional. Pat cried. I see it in Vinny's eyes. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Tom's crying. Rob is crying. I'm the only person that didn't cry. And not because I wasn't sad. I was sort of numb. And you know what? I got back to my room that night. I've only cried 3 times in the last 5 years, I would say. The day that my girlfriend got cancer, the day that my dad died, and the day that Charlie Kirk died. And I was playing the song from Green Day, you know, another turning point of forks, Good Riddance. And I just started bawling, man. And I'm just so sad for everyone, and I'm sad for America, because this was a guy, we've spent so much time with Charlie, one of the best humans I've ever met. I don't know anything bad about him. And the fact that people on the left are mocking him and cheering for his death just shows how sick and twisted some people in America have become. It's just sad to me.
Yeah, it's and by the way, it's interesting you say that. To some people, it's not. It's going to hit them even later when it sinks in and reality sinks in, and you never know when that's going to happen to you. But it is a sad situation, not just for you, many others as well. As you're going through this, you're wondering who would want to see something like this happen. One of the simplest things that you got to be thinking about is a leader. Your job of a leader is to try to control the temperature of a nation, of a company, of a family. You know, you're in the house, your kids, blah, 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 and they're fighting, bring it down, right? It's a little bit here, you bring it up. You control the temperature. Last week, this Ukrainian girl, okay, is on the subway. And all of a sudden, there's 2 clips, Rob. If you want to go through this, and if you have the Van Jones clip, And if you know which ones I'm talking about, first play the clip of her not getting stabbed until when she's first getting moved by the guy that's just kind of shaking her up a little bit at first. So Trump wants death penalty for the Charlotte's murder suspect after what happened. Okay? That picture to the right. Okay? That's the girl. That's the killer right behind her. Okay? Ukrainian refugee Irina escapes war horrors only to get her throat savage slit on a Charlotte train by black repeat offender DeCarlos Brown, free on bail from Democrat soft crime insanity. Okay, this is a fellow on Twitter writing this. That's the story right there. Trump comes out and saying he wants death penalty for him. Okay, Van Jones is out there saying things. This right here, this clip, go forward.
It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
Wait, he should be embarrassed for himself, Van? Buddy, God. Here's a question. I want to send something, Rob, to you, and I want you to show this here because a guy sent this to me and said, how different would it have been if this is the case? Rob, let me send this to you, and then if you can put it up, okay, if this was the story. What would America look like if this was the story, Rob? If you don't mind, I'm going to airdrop it to you, Rob, if you can show it to everyone here. Imagine if this was the case. Take that situation and make it this. How different would America have been today? What would the streets have looked like today? What would Van Jones be saying today? Van, what would you really be saying today if this was the story? Take all the seats and change Irina, and that's the case.
Oh, my God.
What would America be doing?
What a different picture.
They burn this thing
What would
down.
America be doing? A white guy stabs a black girl with two white guys and a white girl sitting to her right doing nothing. How would you react to this? What would you be saying? Would you be saying, why didn't one of them jump in and save her? Is that what you'd be saying? This is why America has a white crime problem. What would you be saying? So to me, I'm really trying to speculate because I got a couple weird calls yesterday from people that are involved directly with this, and they're all trying to find out what happened, and some of them are trying to find out how to prevent future ones from happening. So what do you do here? Was the motive on taking Charlie out because of this? Did somebody watch this exchange and say, you know what, I'm going to go take Charlie out and I'm going to be the hero? Is that what it was? Was it that simple of a reaction to what happened with, Irina? Tom, what are your thoughts? I know you have some opinions on this story.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of clips and people saying, Van Jones a communist, here he goes again. Van Jones said he was a communist, but he said it's part of his radical 1990s, and he has since matured. Well, respectfully, I don't really see it. To say something like that, Van Jones is the one that's race baiting. Van Jones is the one that is pulling the strings there, using his perch in media, and he doesn't even know.
Tom, hang on one second. The press conference right now with the shooters taking place right now.
Left the rifle in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact, Tyler, also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now.
Oh, they have that.
So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! ! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols.
Bullet?
A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
So he did write on the case.
We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m. where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 interviews, 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake Field Office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our...
Okay, so how do you feel about what Cash just said right now?
I mean...
7,000 yesterday, 11,000 today. We're going to run all those leads. You know, the details of the shooter having written things on it. If you're reading this, you're gay, LOL. You know, all the funny things he wrote in there, fascist.
It's kind of, I don't know. And again, way too early, but it's as if it's the same playbook over and over and over again. I'm very curious to see where this kid, who apparently, I just sent Rob in the chat, he got a he's reading a letter of receiving a $32,000 scholarship. The kid looks like a normal kid. What makes someone like this, a good kid that has a scholarship, that obviously has a brain, to do something? This isn't a, like you said, Pat, waking up in the morning and I'm going to go shoot Charlie Kirk. No, I believe there's something deeper. Who knows who was around him?
Can you play that clip that he's talking about? It was just texted to everybody. Yeah, that one right there.
And again, way too early, but from the looks of it, this isn't, my opinion, from coming from a military background to talking to military people,
Let's hear this. Let's see what he says.
Okay. Congratulations. You have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
And that's the kid? Allegedly, that's the kid?
So, yeah. So, what, and again, we don't know anything, just his name and jumping off the roof, and that's all him because some of the photos aren't even matching up. What makes someone like that, who sounds like he has a freaking good mother, who's obviously bright enough to get a freaking scholarship, to get a rifle, go on a roof, and shoot someone in the neck in front of everybody in that fashion, and then run away and with no escape plan?
Tom, what are you thinking, Tom?
Well, I'm thinking at some point in time, this young man was radicalized. You don't go from all the descriptions that people have forward. He was radicalized and by someone or something. Let's say something or someone. Something. He started diving into literature, diving into things, and took himself down the rabbit hole and became angry, bitter, and changed so he could do it, or it was someone that guided him. We've seen this happen with young men before, not going out and assassinating someone, but we know the pathology. We know the pathology of young men. Maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's disassociation, whatever it is, and then finding something, and that leads him down this rabbit hole and then materially change. And people talk about it. Oh, between 18 and 20 years old, he completely changed. Look at Luigi, killed
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, killed the CEO of United Healthcare.
Brian Thompson.
People talk about the same thing, that something happened to him. He went away. Remember we talked about this, Pat, with him. Remember he went away? He went like to Hawaii or something for 2 years, and he came back, and his parents and friends and family were saying, we didn't recognize him. We didn't understand. We recognized him physically, but we didn't recognize his point of view. We didn't recognize his demeanor and stuff. Something happens. So I believe something has happened for him to be capable, if he is in fact the shooter, and he is in fact the guilty one. Right now we say he is the suspect that is going to be indicted, that is allegedly the assassin.
So I got it. So this is a picture of him and his dad, Kate, before he went to college.
With the American flag on
That's right. Father on the left shoulder. Rob, go to the other thing, the DSA that you just had up. Was that him speaking, or was that where it says he's part of the DSA? You just had a tweet that the guys were speaking saying he's part of DSA.
Yeah, that was just a speaker from the DSA. It wasn't him, but they're saying that he's part of this group, Democratic Socialists of America.
Can you go on the Democratic Socialists of America? So who's on this? If you go to the website, what pictures are there of who is recognized on there?
The Bernie AOC squad side of things.
You just had a minute ago. I think a minute ago you were on a website that had Mamdani on it. It had Rashidi on it. Where were you? You were literally just somewhere. I just saw it on the site that you had. Which one was it you were showing?
I mean, Pat, these are the kids you debated in Jubilee. The Democratic Socialists. These aren't Democrats.
Yeah, a guy from Serbia. A guy from Serbia yesterday came and said, please never talk to those guys that you did the Jubilee with. I said, why? He says, just never talk to those types, because they don't like people like you. I said, if you don't talk to them, how are you going to get to the bottom of it? You have to talk to them to kind of find out what's going to be happening. Okay, yeah, so,
well,
Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, well, oftentimes when there's a shooting or mass shooting or school shooting, we want to get to the bottom of who was this shooter. In my opinion, F this shooter. F these shooters. I don't want to know their names. I don't want to publicize their names. I don't want to give them any shine. I want to focus on Charlie. Charlie was murdered and assassinated the day before 9/11, 9/10. It was kicking off his American comeback tour. 9/10 should be known as Charlie Kirk Day. I think President Trump has already expressed the fact that he will give posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk. That's who we should be speaking about. These people that have been indoctrinated by whatever progressive leftism, whatever it is, screw them. And oftentimes, who cares what happens here? Now, is TikTok to blame? Is the school system to blame? Are the professors to blame? Is our culture to blame? I don't know. But I want to give the praise to Charlie. I don't care about this kid. That's my opinion.
Well, to me, I that sounds very noble, but I want to find out what happened here so this doesn't happen again. We have to learn. This is the mugshot that was just released of the shooter, Tyler Robinson. They officially just released it.
Can I ask you one question, Ben?
Yeah.
If you got to sit with this kid right now, because nothing more than what you're saying, it shines to me where if you could sit down with this guy right now, like not a podcast, but an interview, because what would you be asking? Like, what would you be asking this kid? Because that's the truth. Because we're not going to hear nothing from this guy for a long time. Okay.
Listen, here's all I care about. If he's alive 90 days from now, we're going to find out what happened. If he in the next 48 hours, they're carrying him from a place to another place, and he doesn't make it, I'm going to be suspicious about what happened here.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say one thing. we almost know what he stands for. If he's the person that wrote on the bullet, fascists, LOL, you're gay.
Yeah, but you want to see more than that.
I totally understand here. I understand that, but we know what these people feel like. We know you've interviewed these people. They've been indoctrinated so many times, and they need to take action. A fascist? Charlie Kirk is a fascist? Charlie Kirk is the anti-fascist. Charlie Kirk believes in freedom of speech. He believes in open discourse. He believes in open debate. These people, if you have a difference of opinion with them, you now have a death sentence. That's what they believe in. So we talked about earlier the identity politics with Van Jones. Excuse me, the hypocrisy that comes from the left, the identity politics. Nobody talks about race and gender more than the left. You talk about microaggressions. What about actual aggressions? Talk about trigger warnings. What about actually pulling the trigger? We talk about cancel culture. What about canceling somebody you don't believe it? The left, the progressive left, they own this,
and
not the right.
And if you think about it, because you asked earlier, because I'm trying to figure out who benefits. You know how, Adam, you say follow the money. You know what I mean? Who? Because think about it. You talking about your next 5 moves. You want to talk about planning ahead. They took out. It's not just this kid, bro. I think it's way deeper. You're taking out the guy that's motivating the youth. This is the future of the Republican Party, and they cut off the head. They cut off the head. Obviously, we're coming back, and I love what you said the other day, where you said, and it was immediate. It was immediate, because Pat was the one that let me know, and I had to run away. I'm so locked into Tony like you. I had to run out, because Pat was the first one, because Pat was backstage, and Pat's face, because in the commotion, in the hurricane, and I'm crying. Everybody's emotional about what just happened. And Pat, do you remember what you said? You looked at me about evil, and I'm talking about evil, and you go, "We're gonna win. It's evil will not freaking prevail." And there was a moment of like calm that came over me, because I realized what the fight is, and we're in it, and it's us, because we're up. By the way, there's a list. You know how influential you are, and the podcast, and what PBD podcast is. We're on there. I saw some list, Pat. I saw a big list. Megyn Kelly, boom, boom, boom. People, Patrick. We're on there. Yeah. What we do. We're waking people up. We're not. Yeah, we have our opinions, but we're speaking fact. We're speaking fact, and it pisses some people off. How many death threats do you get? How many death threats do you get? It's unbelievable, but we're gonna win. I don't give a damn what this side is doing, what this evil is gonna do. We're going to win, and we're going to prevail.
I love you, Vinny. It turns out that when you spend a decade calling somebody evil or calling them Hitler, that people actually start to believe them after 10 years. Why are these things happening? Why was Trump almost assassinated a year ago? When was the year anniversary? This summer. Why is Charlie Kirk getting shot right now? Why are they writing the word fascist on bullets? It's because this is what they've been told for a decade. Now, you might want to criticize the right. Sure. You say things like Biden is senile and old and corrupt. Is that inaccurate? You say that Obama is gay and Michelle's a man. Okay, maybe that's not true. But you're not calling them evil Hitler figures.
Adam,
that's the difference.
When Joe Biden got his freaking diagnosis of cancer, show me the people that on the right that were celebrating and happy and saying die. Go ahead. Go and look it up. Go ahead, Rob. Try to find it. It's unbelievable how disgusting these people are and how far gone they are. It's unbelievable.
And Vinny, you're right. And if people on the right, here's the difference. The people on the right would call them out. What are you doing? What are you saying right now?
We prayed for this old guy.
My
I don't think he should have been president, but
need to do better and call out their far left extremist counterparts. They might not listen to us, but they need to listen to their fellow liberals and libs and Democrats that say we need to do better.
Yep. And what who's this?
That was Taylor Lorenz, the only person that did celebrate that I could find Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis was progressive.
Oh, weird. So, progressive girl saying hopefully he rots in hell and rests in piss.
Exactly. Of Biden wants him to die.
Weird.
So there seems to be a common theme here from the progressive left.
You know, I'm gonna show something that's maybe one of the coolest tweets out there, which is this. Rob, can you pull this up? You guys gonna love this here. Watch this tweet here from 14 years ago. Tell me this isn't the coolest tweet. Look at this. This is Charlie Kirk on October 13th of 2011. At Glenbeck, I'm a 17-year-old high school student listening to you every day. I speak for a local Tea Party about debt and deficit. Fight liberal bias.
Wow.
14 years ago. 17 years old. You know what this means? Look how many likes it got. Look how many retweets it got. 20 retweets, 21 likes.
Wow.
You know what this means? Do you know how many millions of kids are doing this right now? Do you know how many millions of kids right now, this is their guy? Do you know how many millions of kids are looking up to him? Do you know how many millions of kids are going to sit there watching Charlie Kirk debate videos on reruns over and over and over and over? Those are documented. See, the reason why I keep talking about this comparison with him and MLK, Martin Luther King, revolutionary, how important he was to the American history. But you don't have thousands of hours. Matter of fact, if you go on ChatGPT right now and you ask, how many hours of content are there of Charlie Kirk speaking? How many hours of content are there of Charlie Kirk speaking? How many? I just put it right here. It says, launch 2017, so it's doing the math. It says there's roughly 4,700 hours of Charlie Kirk speaking. How many hours of Martin Luther King are there in comparison to Charlie? Okay? Charlie's got 4,700. Martin Luther King, at a time where social media didn't exist, you didn't have the access to YouTube. There was no, Martin Luther King just tweeted something. That didn't exist back then, okay? If you go look at hours total, do you know what the number is?
Hundreds.
Between the two, 40 to maybe 100 hours of archived, preserved, versus 4,700.
Wow.
You're talking 50 times more hours of content. And what age did MLK die, by the way? I thought it was 39.
It's 39,
Okay.
yes.
MLK dies at the age of 39. Charlie dies at the age of 31. Okay. 4,700 hours. How many people you think are going to watch those hours? How many times have you watched MLK's different talks? Which one do you know?
You have the I Have a Dream speech.
Time is, yeah, exactly. I have a dream, right? Mm-hmm. You have all these different things that the speeches that he gives, the one at the church, the one at the, there's so many of them. But you got 4,700. There's millions of kids that are going to aspire. I'm on Minect answering all these questions. And one by one, people are saying, Pat, I'm inspired to do this, and I'm inspired to do that, and I'm inspired to do this. I'm inspired to do that. And every time I'm listening to these messages, I'm like, buddy, this could be you next. 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 So I think his legacy is going to continue on. And data came out, which the left is got to be so scared. Let me tell you how scared the left's got to be. Do you know they're saying Gen Z is going to be the biggest conservative generation of all time? Do you know they're saying Gen Z, okay? How big is Gen Z, Rob? How big is Gen Z? They're saying Gen Z will be the biggest generation of conservatives we've ever seen in the history of America. Okay? Gen Z. And what does that mean? You got 68 to 70 million Gen Zs in America.
Wow.
And they're saying this is going to be the biggest generation of conservatives. Do you know what America's going to look like the next 40 years because of what Charlie Kirk did the last 14 years?
Wow.
Do you realize what America's going to look like the next 60 years, 50 years because of Gen Z? These kids on campus have been hearing Charlie. It's done. Once that message gets in of conservatives, you very rarely lose being conservative.
Of course.
You lose being a liberal. You don't ever give up your conservative ideology. Very rarely does that ever happen, except if your name is Joe Walsh and you're confused. But for the most part, things like this don't happen. But here's the question I want to process with you guys, since we're already in this topic with the youth and Gen Z. Here's what I want to ask you. The question, what happens to Turning Point USA next?
Great question.
Tom, what do you think happens to Turning Point USA next?
Turning Point USA, I think, will continue. Well, I'll go top to bottom. It's not going away. It's going to get a lot of funding in the near term. People are going to be supporting the cause. They're going to raise money for Charlie's children, of course, of course. So that's part one. Part two, it will continue to facilitate these meetings on campus, because it wasn't just Charlie. Charlie was the voice, the tip of the spear. But there were also others that are being brought up that they were encouraging people to create turning point campus organizations. And there are turning point campus organizations all across the United States. I think there's going to be a little bit more inspired. But will Turning Point have a voice like Charlie at the top? No, but what it's going to have to do is find its power in distributed effectiveness. And if the people that are waking up, as you say, Pat, I look at this to the stoning of Stephen, which if you read Acts chapter 8, 9, and 10, Stephen.
That's such a good story. Go for it.
Stephen is stoned after he goes in front of the Jewish leaders, and he recounts. Basically, he gives a history lesson, and he said, "And the rabbi you were waiting for, the Messiah you were waiting for, this was him, and you hung him on a tree." And it says the Jewish leaders got very upset. They flipped out and said, "Take him out and have him stoned." Well, the Romans were the police that were maintaining order in their regions because they controlled these regions. But they let people, kind of govern themselves, basically.
Under Pontius Pilate, correct?
Well, a variety of people. Yeah. And so they took him out there, and he was stoned. And you read in the Bible that his spirit was taken to heaven at his moment of death, and he looked to the heavens, and there was bright light. But they said in Scripture, immediately a persecution broke out in Jerusalem and more widely, and the Christians scattered. And so what happened was it extended the church. It extended Christianity because the stoning of Stephen triggered this dispersion, and then the guy that was standing there, Saul, that was giving approval by his authority to conduct the stoning, he is then converted by the Holy Spirit and God himself on the road to Damascus, and becomes the missionary and mentor to all those distributed people. So Romans 8:28 says God will make good of any situation, and for his good purposes. It may not be good on earth. We have mourning and consequence and evil and so many things. He's not going to make earth into nirvana for us. Broken earth will never become a soft pillow. But the Lord's purposes were served. And I think now, what happens to Turning Point? They're going to get money. They're going to continue distributed Turning Point clubs, Pat, that exist. They've lost their center and their voice, but is there a group of leaders to hold it together so its effectiveness can continue on campuses the way they do today with the individual clubs?
And since we're going there, Tommy, I wrote this in Revelations just about Charlie, Pat, about not being murdered, but actually being martyred. Revelations 6, chapters 9 through 10. Basically, it says, when a martyr's blood hits the throne of heaven, it turns the vengeance of the king towards the evil ones on this earth. Okay, so all the people out there that are furious, that are mad, God will take care of everything, Tom. I'm so happy that you brought this up. The
day of vengeance belongs to the Lord.
To the Lord. Every drop of, when people like Charlie give their lives for truth and heaven hears it, the blood of the righteous moves the hand of the king. And vengeance, it's not for us. It's for God. And just rest assured, it's coming. Plain and simple.
Yep. And by the way, you know what's so impressive? Yesterday, the Yankees send out a tweet recognizing and honoring Charlie Kirk in the game on the big screen. Look at that.
Wow.
Before tonight's game, we held a moment of silence in memoriam of Charlie Kirk. Kirk founded the youth activist group Turning Point USA, and I've become a fixture on college campuses. I messaged the Yankees, and I let them know how impressed I was with this and how great it is that us, the organization, did something like this. Rob, can you do me a favor? Show the picture of the president with the Yankees players yesterday. Did you guys see this?
No.
Look at the picture of Trump, because he was at the game. Just happened, Trump Yankees. Watch this. Look at that. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that. Isn't that great?
That's cool, man.
Are they smiling?
Yep.
Who's not smiling? They're all smiling. They're smiling that the president came to visit these
And look
guys.
who's the guy to the president's right with the shirt? Jesus won. Bingo.
Wow,
I love that.
good
I
for you,
love
buddy.
that.
I have a good video if you'd like to see Trump at Yankee Stadium.
I'd love to see the video. Damn. I'd love to see the video Good for you, Yankees. At the Yankees. See the glass? We need more of those glass.
Is that O'Reilly?
Yes.
We need more of those glass everywhere. Good for O'Reilly, by the way, for being there.
We're also going to need more of those people to vote in the New York City mayoral election.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, they're still looking like they're going to be electing Mamdani as the communist mayor of New York City.
We'll see.
So the Bronx needs to step up, and the Bronx Bombers need to start sending out some flare guns.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happened there. Next story I want to get into. Rob, can you pull up the sit-down between Tucker Carlson and Sam Altman?
Oh, my
God. Tucker sits down with Sam Altman. They're having a conversation together. Tucker, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, turns the interview into very, very serious but fair question of what happened to one of Sam Altman's former employees, and here's what happened.
You had complaints from one programmer who said you guys were basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was like a friend of mine. This is like a guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to, read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
Why does it look like a suicide?
It was a gun he had purchased. It was this is like gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole medical record. Does it not look like one to you?
No, he was definitely murdered, I think. There were signs of a struggle, of course. Surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered takeout food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal. No note and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone, and then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms. So that's impossible. Seems really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I have not talked to the authorities about it.
And his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
Do you believe that?
I'm asking.
You just said it. So do you believe that?
I think that it is worth looking into, and I don't. If a guy comes out and accuses your company of committing crimes, I have no idea if that's true or not, of course, and then is found killed and there are signs of a struggle, I don't think it's worth dismissing it. I don't think we should say, well, he killed himself when there's no evidence that the guy was depressed at all.
Okay. I've been trying
Rob,
to do.
Can you do me a favor, Rob? You know the facts of this story. Can you? Because we've had the family on. You want to kind of share with the audience who they're talking about?
Yes, his name was Suchir Balaji. He was an OpenAI researcher, worked for the company for a long time, was quickly rising up within the company, but started bringing up issues of copyright and the issues that the AI software was running into regarding that copyright. And then all of a sudden, he went to Catalina Island, just like Sam Altman and Tucker talked about. Went to Catalina Island with his friends for a weekend, comes back, is in a great mood. We interviewed and spoke with his parents. Both of them said they talked to him when he came back. He had no signs of suicidal ideation or anything like that. And then the next thing you know, they find him dead inside of his home. Like Tucker mentioned, camera wires cut, very odd blood stains all over the apartment. When you look at the footage from inside the apartment, which the family provided us, when you look around the footage, it looks like it's a crime scene. There's things all over the place.
Yep.
And yet they ruled that this death was a suicide.
Yeah.
What did the authorities say?
Which is
suicide.
It's a suicide, which even
How
gets
did
even
they justify-
Adam. It's almost the same, bro. With Mark Middleton, who was hanging from a tree with an extension cord. They couldn't find the shotgun, and the police, the detective said it's suicide, as if people are all paid off and they're all in on it. And I absolutely love. Listen, say what you want. People hate Tucker. Remember that list I was talking about, where Charlie's on and that we're on. Tucker's up there. You know why? He's asking questions. Love him or hate him. He wants to know the truth, okay? And I don't know how everybody else feels. Seeing Sam Altman's body language and the way his energy was coming off, something seems a little off. And if this was a movie and I heard everything that Tucker just said, and I heard everything that Rob just basically explained, and I saw the podcast with a crying mother who believes that her son was murdered. If it was a movie, guess what? I would say, just like in the movie Michael Clayton with George Clooney, you know, this huge billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company, when somebody is talking and somebody's opening their mouth, it's not that hard, guys. It's not that hard to have somebody that's on payroll, but in a secret way, to go and kill somebody and make it look like it was a suicide. And in this case, they did a horrible, horrible job. OpenAI is worth what? $500 billion? And you have somebody internally saying, guys, they're stealing, and it could be a potential lawsuit to destroy your company. It's not that hard. Guys, it's not flesh and blood. It's evil, and evil just goes. By the way, even if I'm not accusing anybody at OpenAI of doing anything, but you think it's that hard when these people give orders, when Bush or any of these people say go and kill, it's not as if they're killing. Go drop bombs on Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. They're not signing it off. None of these people do it. They just say, hey, a decision needs to be made. Go do it, if they're even involved. So it's like, I watched the podcast just to see all the stuff that was in there. There's no way you could convince me that he killed himself, Adam. Zero. There's zero for me. You know, you say 100%. He was 100% murdered, plain and simple.
In your opinion?
In my opinion,
Tom.
Yes.
So this, you know, you look at it with common sense, and you say to yourself, how is it possible for this to happen in the face of all this? Because you can have conclusion-based evidence. You know, someone makes a conclusion and gives it to you, and you accept the conclusion. Or you just look at simple facts that have all been laid out, and I won't repeat them here, and you're saying, this is a suicide. Really? I mean, this is like Vince Foster and all the inconsistency. They never found the bullet. The gun, fact. That's a fact, not a conclusion.
Fact.
The gun was on the wrong side, and so for his last act, he committed suicide, apparently, as they say, with the wrong hand. You know what? I've been right-handed all my life, but to call this one off, I'm going to shoot myself in my left, or whatever it was. And you see those things, and you see it called suicide. That's why now, Pat, we have the word suicided in our lexicon. That go look at the origin of the word suicided. He got suicided. Yeah. And now and why do we start talking that way? Why do we use that word? It's because that the public and the fair-minded news media looks at it with such disdain and said, well, I guess he got suicided. Suicided means, regardless of what it says, some medical examiner will sign a piece of paper, paid off, instructed, pick the word you like, and it's a suicide. And that appears here. Then you go to, okay, it's one simple question. Who influenced the head of the law enforcement responsible for investigating jurisdiction? There's one person in that jurisdiction responsible for investigating homicides, and suicide is a homicide. There's one person responsible for signing off on the medical examiner report. So if you have two people that are paid off or told, that's all you need. And then everybody else is told, keep your job, your mouth stays shut. It's so simple. Mm-hmm. It's so simple. But, this looks like this kid was suicided.
If this was a movie, Tom, if this was a movie, you would know who the bad guy was. You know what I mean? There's no questioning it.
I don't know what happened in this situation, but I do want to address Tucker Carlson for a second, or sometimes what I'd like to call him Two-Face Tucker. Where's this energy when you're interviewing American foes? You feel very comfortable pushing the Ted Cruzes of the world and the Sam Altmans of the world, people who are Americans and love America. Where's this energy when you're interviewing Putin, buddy? Where's this interview when you're interviewing Putin's right-hand man, Sergei Lavrov? Where's this energy, even a speck of it, Two-Face Tucker, when you're interviewing the president of Iran, Pezeshkian? Give me a little bit of that energy, Tucker. I'm just asking questions. So save me the moral virtue signaling, hey, I'm just asking questions, and use it with people who actually hate America. Cool, great. Ask tough questions to people who you have differences with. Great. But keep that energy when you're interviewing America's enemies. That's my thoughts on Two-Face Tucker.
Well, he kept the energy with Mark Cuban. I don't know if you guys saw this with Mark
what
Cuban.
A good one.
And
What
Ukraine.
a good one.
If you want to go to that Mark Cuban clip with Ukraine, here's what happened there. If you want to go to it. So they're at the All-In podcast event, and David Sachs asked questions about Ukraine, and then this is what Mark Cuban said, and then this is what Tucker said. Go for it.
Mark, let me ask you a question. What's your take on whether we should be sending money to Ukraine or not? Were you in favor of that?
Man, they need it.
I mean, honestly, I don't have a good answer. You know, I can make an argument both ways, and half my family's Ukrainian from my grandparents. And so, you know, personally, I think we should help, but I don't have a studied answer for you.
How much money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
Oh, so what do you mean by we? You're the one whose family's from Ukraine. Like, why don't you send them $1 billion?
Because I'm trying to fix healthcare.
Why don't you fix their healthcare if you're like so deep? If you think we need to help, why don't you start? How about you first? Yeah. I notice that's never like even an option for anybody. It's like, we need to help. That's not what charity is. Forcing other people to help is not charity. Here's the good vanity.
News. Oh, that's such a those. Are
Cuban did not like that, and he didn't know what to do with it. You see that? He's like, no.
If Mark Cuban was smart, which I know he is, he could have said, well, we're all sending money to Ukraine. It's called taxes. And I assume a billionaire is paying a massive amount of taxes.
He could have said that, but he opened himself
who's paid
up,
the most
my
amount of
family's
taxes
Ukrainian, you
in the
know?
history of America? I think it's Elon Musk.
Yeah, but
I
it's
can fact check that.
Adam, it's the same.
So I'm not advocating
I know.
sending more money or not sending more money to Ukraine.
Yeah, well-
but if Mark Cuban was on his feet, on his toes, he could have said, "Yeah, we're all sending money, and so are you, Tucker."
Yeah, but it reminds me of the people, Adam, that are just the most vocal, pro-open border. Open it, how dare you? You don't care. Will you take any in your house? Hell no. My sister lives with me. Yeah, bull crap. It's the same freaking attitude. If he cares that much and he thinks that we should help him more, Adam. Our taxes, of course. How many hundreds of billions have we sent? How much, Rob? To Ukraine? I'm going to guess 130 billion?
I think it's committed 185, of which we've done 107 or 80. We've done 100 of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 187 committed.
billion. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk. Give a little more, Adam, because they can.
And then you got to be careful when you dive into this, because some of the money is going to U.S. defense contractors.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't give it to Ukraine.
Coming back to
we gave it
us.
to Boeing, and they sent bombs.
That's the same story.
Yeah. But there's word
there's a
there's
phrase
word
for
games
that.
being
There's a
played.
phrase.
There is a phrase for that.
There's a phrase for that. I think it's called the military industrial
complex.
Okay, let's go to the next story.
Those guys.
Trump has heated call with Netanyahu over Israel strike on Qatar. Okay, and this is a WAPO story, Washington Post story, talking about this call that they had with Trump and Bibi. Let me read this story to you. President Trump had a heated call with Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu on Tuesday. Senior U.S. administration officials conveying deep frustration at being blindsided at Israel's strike on Hamas representatives in Qatar. Trump told Netanyahu that the decision to target Hamas political leaders in Doha, Qatar's capital, wasn't wise. He was angry to learn about the attack as it was occurring from the U.S. military rather than from Israel, and it struck the territory of another U.S. ally that was mediating negotiations on ending the Gaza war, the official said. Netanyahu responded that he had a brief window to launch the strikes and took the opportunity. The second call was cordial. Officials say as Trump asked Netanyahu if the attack had proven successful, Netanyahu said he didn't know. Hours later, Hamas claimed that Israel's targets survived the strikes, though 6 lower-level members were killed. A senior administration official said Trump, a staunch supporter of Israel, is increasingly frustrated when Netanyahu continually boxes him with aggressive moves taken without U.S. input that clash with Trump's own Middle East goals. In Gaza, Trump favors a ceasefire and releases of hostages. And then at the same time, the White House came out and said, Israel attack on Qatar, unfortunate, but worthy. Rob, is this the clip? Go for it.
This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for...
Adam, thoughts?
Yeah, Qatar's our friend, like MS-13 is our friend down there in Mexico and El Salvador. This fake relationship that is ongoing with Qatar is becoming more exposed. So why does Hamas terrorists feel very comfortable living in Doha, Qatar? Just ask me that.
Adam, why do they feel so comfortable staying in Qatar?
That's the question that I want to know. So you ever heard of the term of a frenemy or a fake friend? Qatar has positioned themselves as this neutral arbitrator, helping the United States, but at the same time trying to be an ally to terrorists in the Middle East. So here's what I know. Israel has basically said, no, remember the movie Wedding Crashers, when she goes, I hope you never try to leave me, because why? I'll find you. That's what the IDF and Mossad are basically telling terrorists. Whether it's Hezbollah with the beepers, beep, beep, boom, whether it's the leaders of Hamas that are hanging out in Qatar in millionaire apartments, they're going to find you. And as an American, yeah, I would like an ally, a staunch ally of Israel, to maybe give me a heads up if I'm the President of the United States. But this sort of is counterintuitive that Israel owns the United States, this whole subjugation over there. Okay, how about they're acting in the best interest of Israel? They've been pretty damn clear. They are going to eliminate Hamas and the leaders of Hamas. You may disagree. You may say that's crazy. You may not agree with it. I totally understand. But this is what Israel's saying. They're going to find you, and they're going to take you out like they're Liam Neeson and Taken.
Can I ask you one question, Adam?
But there's a big difference here. The difference here is, let me put it to you this way. So the U.S. has said that there are drug dealers in the hills just over the border, and there's coyotes in the hills just over the border in Mexico. And we're going to send military to do that. Those areas are rural, desolate in many cases, like nothing there except little camps where they conduct their stuff. And okay, so you go into a little camp on the hills in the middle of freaking nowhere, and you take some guys out. Nobody in the world is going to look at that, and they may say, well, that's, Mexico's sovereign country. You shouldn't be doing that. But what if Mexico knew that there were bad guys that they don't like in Georgetown, right there in Washington, D.C.? Doha's the capital of Qatar. And so you're going to not only a sovereign nation, you're going to a suburb of their capital to take out a bad guy. That's a couple levels up.
Isn't that
and
exactly what United States did in Pakistan with Osama bin Laden? We have a relationship with Pakistan. Why does Osama bin Laden feel comfortable hiding out with Pakistan? Why is he in Islamabad? What's going down? How about we needed to take him out because he was the most wanted man in the world, according to the United States military and according to the Pentagon. So according to Mossad and IDF, these were the head of Hamas. I don't see a distinguishment. I don't see a difference. I could be wrong. But again, they want to go
military action in a capital city of a foreign country when you don't have the full support of the U.S., and the U.S. is a key ally of yours in the Middle East where you're surrounded by people that want to exterminate you. I don't know, man. I think Israel got way out over its skis on this one, and if they wanted to take out some guys that are bad, I think there should have been a different thing, because it's very clear that the White House is upset. It's very clear that the UN's upset. And you can't just keep saying, well, these people want to kill Israel. Oh, there's a guy over here. There's a guy over here. Let's go get him. They're bad. And these people need to be rooted out and dealt with. But if you don't tell your ally, or you told us at the last minute, hey, I'm about to do something, you don't hang up. I got to tell you now. It's because it's just a couple minutes away. However that happened, the U.S. is pissed. The State Department's pissed. The DOD is pissed. The UN is pissed. Why are we pissed when we normally support people and say, hey, wait a minute, you're threatening that guy and one of your guys got killed? Easy does it, buddy.
I don't disagree with you. Again, as an American, I don't want to see people basically going against U.S. interests. But I'm speaking as someone who's looking into Bibi's mind. He basically said, do I want to kill my biggest enemies or still play the nice guy role as we've been? Is it about to be the 2-year anniversary of October 7th? And yet the leaders of Hamas are still hanging out in Doha, Qatar. If it was, how many years did it take to get Osama bin Laden?
This makes me uncomfortable.
How many years?
Let me tell you why this makes me uncomfortable. So, U.S. helped you out, especially Trump helped you out. If Trump's not the president, what does it look like? Could you get the job done on those 3 nuclear sites, or did you need America's help? You may have a great intel. You may have a great intelligence agency, Mossad, and you get a lot of intel for us because we're not there. Yes, kudos to you. But who did you have to call to take out those 3 nuclear sites? Who needed to do those 3 things for you? Could you do it? Did you have the B-52 bombers to do it? Did you have the pilots and the training to do it? No, you didn't. So when you understand that you ask for help and you call, and we keep low-key and we go and support you, and then you want to do something like this, and it's not even a phone call to the guy that helped you take out those 3 nuclear. To me, look, diplomacy is one thing, and I actually support the fact that the president got furious with that call not being made, and at least saying, hey, is there any assets you got here that we don't know about? Is there anything that's here that we don't know because we don't want it to affect other relations you may have? This is your number one supporter. I think you should have made the call. That makes me uncomfortable. Vinny.
I'm going to be not all over the place, but I have so many different thoughts and opinions. I mean, can you blame Bibi? I mean, if we're going to be honest, from what we've been seeing, from going back to Trump getting mad and Trump getting mad, if you know, Pat, if you're a kid and you know your parents aren't going to your dad's not going to yell at you, keep doing it. If my mom's not going to spank me for doing something, they're just going to go, hey, don't do that again. I'm going to keep doing it over and over and over. So Bibi knows nothing's ever going to happen to him. That's my one point. Number 2, me and Adam were talking on the ride over here. When it comes to Qatar, and trust me, I'm not cool with him doing the operation without saying it, but for how long are we keep hearing it's Hamas? Hamas is in Qatar. They're in Qatar. Guess what? At one point, they were going to go there, period. And what we're saying, Adam, you're going to keep killing the bees, Pat. We keep killing Hamas. The beehive, apparently, the leaders they're all in Qatar. They're all hiding out there. They're not in Gaza. They're not on the ground. So if that's the thing, you go after the beehive. You don't keep killing the individual bees. And then when it comes to the hostages, and mind you, Adam, and trust me, I love you. I love you to death. You're one of my brothers, and I understand the passion and thing for Israel. But when it comes to the hostages, and they keep, for instance, let me take a step back. We're going after the leaders. We keep going. You kill 6 leaders, 6 more are coming right back. These are terrorists. They don't disappear. They drop down. Like if, God forbid, something happened to anybody in our chain of command in the military, next up in line. It's not going to stop.
It's like a hydra.
It is, Tommy. It is.
Grows another head.
So my thing is this, and we keep seeing these precision targets. We keep seeing all this stuff. But when it comes to these poor freaking hostages, it's an unattainable objective. Okay, they keep saying, well, we're going to, unless we get the hostages back. You're doing all this stuff around the world. How about, because Gaza is flattened, set up an operation, because I know you have the knowledge. I know you guys have the technology. Get down there and go after them. Go get the freaking hostages. Okay, and guess what? If it comes down to a fight and some of them die, I'm sorry. That's a freaking war. That is war. We have to go get them because they're getting tortured as we speak. They're getting starved as we speak. And the excuse that people are getting tired of is, well, not until we get the hostages back. Well, guess what? Set up a mission like you set a freaking drone that blew up a Hamas leader in an apartment in his room. They didn't affect the building at all. They went after the one guy. Use that technology. Use your operation. Use thermo whatever. Find out where the hell they are. Go down there. And I'm sorry. Some of them are probably going to die, but enough of this shit. Go down there. Fight for them. And if some of them die, I'm sorry, that's a casualty of war. Because people are getting upset because it's like, come on, man.
It's not that there's some really bad leaders that need to die. There
sure,
are.
I agree.
But there's you got to coordinate this a little better, and it can't be. I'm sorry I didn't call you. I bombed them in Doha, in Qatar. What are it's a military base out in the middle of nowhere in the sand? No, it was kind of in town near the capital.
We're in downtown, like
So
like, you what?
But you see where I'm coming from?
By the way, I'm 1,000,000% understanding your guys' frustration on why you'd be frustrated about not making a call to Trump. I think he should have.
I know. I know you do.
At the same time, I'm saying we don't have all the information because it might have been.
Here comes the free pass.
Tom.
No, I'm serious. Here comes the free pass.
It might have been. Hey, by the way, breaking news, those guys we've been looking for, they're all in the same building. They're going to be there for lunch. You've got 15 minutes. I don't know how this works.
I agree with,
but here's what I will say about your whack-a-mole sort of perspective of like, if you kill them, more people are going to pop up. Well, that's what you could say about ISIS. That's what you could say about Al-Qaeda. That's what you could say about the Nazis. That's what you could say about MS-13. That's what you could say about the Venezuelan drug boats that we've been eliminating. You got to eliminate the bad guys, and whatever happens after that, you deal with the ramifications. You don't not eliminate terrorists. You don't not eliminate Nazis just because maybe more will pop up. Maybe there will, maybe there won't. You need to eliminate the bad people while you can.
But I think root and stem. When Trump came in at him, he killed ISIS, period. They were gone.
But do you think? But
only
ISIS
under
still
Biden
exists,
they started.
though.
Yep, hold on. Under Biden, under the flag. But Trump killed all of them. Unapologetic. Get in there, kill everybody.
Yeah,
So
but
when it comes to
Vinny,
this situation,
you're proving my point.
No,
they didn't say don't kill ISIS because more ISIS will pop up.
I agree, but what I'm saying is the threat, the main threat right now, Adam, and yes, the leaders around the world. I want the terrorists are in Gaza. They're underground. I don't know where else they're hiding them. Set up an operation and go and get them. Enough is enough.
I'm gonna do one last story.
The infantry are, but the leaders are in
I know, I get
Qatar.
it, guys.
My only question is, why do they feel comfortable hanging out
I agree.
in a U.S.
Let's do
ally?
one last story.
Air quotes.
Three times is enough.
Last
Let's wrap
story.
this one.
Texas bans Sharia law after viral clip of Muslim clerics threat causes stir. Go ahead, Rob.
This is the beginning of the campaign. We're serving notice to America and the world that it's time. Enough is enough. The Muslims, the people who call themselves Muslims, should not be selling haram in their stores. The pork, alcohol, and the gambling, it needs to stop. And this is a sample of the signs that we will be using to demonstrate as we launch this demonstration on, is that we are giving dawah. We are giving dawah to the people, and the more dawah that we give, the more people accept Islam. And the more people accept Islam, the less demand there will be for stores just like this that don't have any rules, no limitations of what they sell. So we're going to launch this. Beware, everybody. We're coming after you. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Mu'min, I remember I told you I was going to come back and see. I was so happy to see Muslim. I'm always glad to see a Muslim, especially one with a beautiful name, Mu'min. SubhanAllah, a believer. What I wanted the information that I have for you is that this is the United States of America, and here the law protects people no matter what they want to do, honestly. Okay. However, as Muslims, we have an obligation to uphold the deen of Islam and do everything correctly according to the deen. And we don't get desperate to try to do anything haram, right? Okay, this store that you manage here, and by you being Muslim, it has haram products here. It has pork, alcohol, and gambling, which is against Islam, okay? Now, I don't have a right to stop you, but I just want to let you know that as a Muslim, I'm obligated to teach the people in the neighborhood correctly, because we give a lot of dawah. And many people around here are attracted to Islam. So what we're doing is I'm letting you know that unless whoever the owner is, I know you're only the manager, that towards the end of this month, we're kicking off a national protesting and demonstration campaign against all Muslim businesses that have haram in their stores. The pork, alcohol, and gambling. Okay, that'll give them, that gives them, at least to the end of this month, to change their inventory or either move to a different neighborhood. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, we're here now at Jack's Food Store, right here in this.
What is he doing, Rob? He's just going to different stores?
He's warning them.
Yep, he goes around to local business owners and is warning them that they need to stop selling pork, lottery tickets, alcohol, because they are against the Islamic faith.
Well, Governor Abbott comes out and announced a ban on Sharia law in the state over a viral video that showed an imam pressuring Muslim-owned shops to stop selling pork, alcohol, and lottery tickets. The governor said that anyone attempting to impose Sharia law should be reported immediately. If this person or anyone attempts to impose Sharia compliance, reported to a local law enforcement or Texas Department of Public Safety. The controversy began when Imam Qasim Ibn Ali Khan of Masjid Al-Tawhid was filmed confronting a store owner. So that's the clip. Khan launched a campaign. Adam, your thoughts on the story?
Well, we have one law in this country, and it is the Constitution of the United States, and it is the everything that came from our founding fathers. It is no other law than that, plain and simple. Sharia law, if you want to do Sharia law, you can take a one-way ticket to any place you'd like in the Middle East, anywhere in the Muslim world. Feel free, brother. Assalamu alaikum. In America, we practice one law. That's the Constitution. That's the United States law. Straight up, read a book. My interpretation of this man right here, my opinion, is he was not born Muslim. He was a dude who most likely went to jail and came out of jail a Muslim. He didn't come here. You can just tell there's no accent. He didn't come from Saudi Arabia. He didn't come from Palestine. None of it. He came and was probably left prison. Then why am I saying something like that? Because that's where they get people to convert to Islam more than any place in the world in America today. They come out of prison, they turn to Islam. Listen, if you were born as a Muslim, respect to you, brother. Totally understand. One law in America, and it ain't Sharia, homeboy. Respect to Governor Abbott for implementing this law.
So this video is not really connected to the story, but it is connected to the story. What Governor Abbott is concerned about is the Muslims have been very open about creating mosques and schools together, and through the mosque, they will enforce Sharia law. And so they're saying, wait a minute, you're not going to take a woman in there and, do a divorce proceeding and then conduct a beating on her under Sharia law for her disobedience. Sorry, we're not doing that in America. So it's the consequence that's coming after this that Governor Abbott is trying to get in front of, Pat. He's trying to get way in front of this. Because this guy's going door to door. Hey, you say you're a Muslim, you shouldn't be selling this stuff. On the surface, okay. Hey, you claim to be this faith. We don't do these things. So this is my fifth visit to you. So what he's worried about is what comes next. What comes next when the storekeeper doesn't comply? And Muslims are very hard on those who claim the faith but don't abide by it. And so what Abbott is trying to do is saying, you will not have Sharia courts and you will not conduct consequences against people that violate their rights as Americans and our American law. And I applaud Governor Abbott for doing that because that's what he's trying to get in front of.
Well, the question is if New York City or any place in Michigan are going to implement something like this. Why did Governor Abbott take the lead on this? Because after New York City, after Dearborn, Michigan, do you know what city in the United States has the most amount of Muslims? It's Houston, Texas. And listen, I'm an American. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of religion. If you're a Muslim, respect to you, brother. But there's one law in the United States, and that's the Constitution, not Sharia.
So here's what you guys might not like my take on this, but is he what I don't think he was enforcing Sharia law. I think he was telling this Muslim store owner, like, you're being a hypocrite and we're just going to protest. I understand. I love what Governor Abbott's saying. And by the way, I don't agree with Sharia law, nor I agree to their practices and with the women and the gays and all that stuff. But Pat, you have to give him credit. Not tolerant. He has conviction. He's telling them the truth. He's telling him, like, yo, lit up, you're a freaking hypocrite and you're not supposed to be doing it. I agree with just making videos and putting them out there and putting the guy on blast. It's like when you see a Christian that owns a strip club or a weed shop or a sex shop. You're like, yo, bro, you speak the faith. You are a Christian. Are we supposed to just turn the eye and be like, yeah, but he's paying money, and he's paying taxes, and he's giving his tithes to the church? I don't agree with the Sharia law at all, but you got to give this guy credit for going up to people and keeping them in check and making videos and putting them on blast on the internet. Because if you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk. Are you really a Muslim? Are you really a Christian? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you got to give him credit for what he believes in, and kudos to him. Rob, I sent you a picture, I don't know if you have it or not, about a man I met at the Vault conference yesterday. If you do have it, please upload it. This is a guy that came up to me last night. He says, Pat, it's my 4th Vault conference I've come to, back to back to back to back. He says, last year you brought me up on the stage, okay? And he says, you have to realize, I don't agree with you politically. I don't agree with you where you're at. He says, I'm a Palestinian and I'm Muslim. Okay?
I saw
Did you see this?
Some in the lobby at
Rob, do you have it or you don't have it?
that
Okay, let me try to send it to you. He says, I'm Palestinian and I'm a Muslim. And I don't like some of the things that you say. He says, but you have no idea how much I respect you. And he was so respectful about the whole thing. I like to recognize the guy. If we have the picture, Rob, to put it up there. But no, I understand. I understand people that are coming up and, wanting to spread their faith. But Adam makes a very good point. Go back to your country. If you want Sharia law to be in your, shared in the country you're in, go back to your country. Go back to a place where those things can apply. This man right here, Palestinian Muslim who came to the Vault for the 4th time in a row. Texas is dealing with it.
Good for him.
Good for him, exactly. Texas is dealing with it right now, and we're going to see what's going to be happening, especially with what just happened with Charlie. I'm just very curious how some states across the country are going to handle different events that happen because, again, my biggest concern is 0 to civil war from one event, and it could be a very weird event the next couple weeks. The more the temperatures are down the next couple weeks, the better for everybody. I pray that happens. Gang, thanks for being here with us on today's podcast. We got a few other stories to go through, but we'll do it next week. And if you support the brand, folks, and you support Vinny, Angry Patriot, go to vtmerch.com, place an order, get a hat, get a T-shirt. Rob, can you go a little bit lower? There's different types of T-shirts, You got a bunch of different things. Dog tags, mugs, stickers. Get your Angry Patriot gear. Represent it, especially at a season like this, for people to know you're a patriot and for people to know you're not happy with the events that took place the last couple of days. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.